Well, good day, everybody. It's the 15th of January, 2025. And I'm in well, I know the general area where I'm at. I still hope I don't get lost. You never know. But I don't think I'll get lost. I just know the general directions I have to go. But it's not an area I've ever been to. But let's start getting into the news. The last video I made, I was talking about a lot of people that are coming out and being a lot more truthful than they used to be. Or maybe that they were more than what they were compelled to be during the Biden years. And of course, we're still in the Biden time. And everybody is kind of like a lot of people, even the ones that we had bad opinions of. Say, for example, Mark Zuckerberg, like I mentioned in the last video. And all of the censorship, things like that, that he was perpetrating on people and Facebook. And I don't even have Facebook, never did. But he came out on Joe Rogan and was talking about that he was basically very heavily pressured to do that. And as we know, Pavel Durov from Telegram, he lives in France, and he is even at the very moment getting pressured. So a lot of these people are getting pressured to censor people, you know, take people down for the most part, things like that, or shadow ban their channels. I think I know all about that. But anyway, Elon Musk, I guess to a certain extent he still does that a little on his X, but it was of course less than some of these other channels. But YouTube, I don't think they've ever stopped. I think they still do a lot of the shadow banning and things, but they had a little bit of more, I don't know, maybe a little bit of more creative freedom in the first place than a lot of places. But certain things you can't talk about. Believe me, I know that very well. If you talk about instruments of war combined with biology, they don't like that at all. So I have to try to avoid that. And I guess it's the small channels that they always go after, you know, to make sure they kind of get rid of them or discourage them so they don't keep going. I don't know. I'm just guessing on that part. Let's find out what else I was going to say here. Yeah, YouTube. I don't know. I'm wondering when they're going to change. And again, I was talking about like this biological instruments, and I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. Or actually, how do I say that? I kind of feel like I'm stupid, sitting here talking, because you got to talk around subjects, and it makes you sound like you're some kind of some idiot that, I don't know, because you can't say these things. But there's a lot of things that you can talk about. It seems like they would be censoring you for it, when you talk about, for example, the start of the war in Ukraine. And they want us to believe that Putin just got up one morning, put his slippers on, and said, I'm going to go to war against Ukraine. I need more territory. Russia's not big enough. I don't know. And then they started to switch it around and talking about the resources in Ukraine, which Russia has those resources already, as you know, that whatever Ukraine has, Russia already has that, and they have it in, big enough numbers. But Lindsey Graham and the United States, of course, they're talking about, we want to get their resources of Ukraine. It's kind of strange. You get somebody that says they're your friend, and then they come right out and says, well, we're going to rape your country. Sounds, but we're your friends. Like, we're going to rape you, but we're your friends. Gosh, you can talk about what's going on in England, too, with the Pakistanis, apparently, what Elon Musk is trying to expose. And I guess these things have been going on. They call them, grooming gangs or things like that. Most of the time they're Pakistanis. And this was a sort of a saving grace sort of a deal for a lot of people that have negative thoughts. And I kind of admit I'm a little bit like that myself towards this Tommy Robinson. And Elon Musk likes him. But the guy, he's just a little bit too extreme for me. But I don't say that he's necessarily a really bad guy. He just seems like he's a little, seems like it. And I'm not even positive, because you never know if you're getting swayed by the news, being a victim of the news that I trash, these people that come right out and they try to make people look bad. say like Candace Owens, that she's an anti-Semite and she's a white supremacist, even though she's a black woman. She's probably what do you call it, a sexist too, you know, against women or something. I don't know. But that's how they operate, you know. They try to find some sort of a label to put on people to make other people not pay any attention to them or think that they're crazy or they're stupid or whatever. I don't know about Tommy Robinson, like I say. Some of you wrote to me and said that he's not anywhere near as bad as what they say. I don't know. I'm going to just kind of maybe stay out of that until I see him saying something. Hope that it's not, what do they call it, deep fakes with voices, which they can do as well. Because Joe Biden sent me a message. No, somebody else did, and they used Joe Biden to lip it or something. It was pretty funny. I don't know. Maybe I don't think I can put it on there. But these biological instruments of war, the things that they do, you know, this sickness that was, you know, really prevalent in like 2020 that they had people locked down with, that originated, as you might already know, as an army project. That's a U.S. Army project, and I can't remember where that was starting down. And anyway, it was like part of it was a University of South Carolina, but they had it on military bases. They were kind of using things like that. And I even mentioned in the last video that I did some training time in Fort McClellan, Alabama. Green Bow, not anywhere near Green Bow as far as I know. I think the town that was right near there was called Anniston, not Jennifer, but called Anniston. And anyway, they had the chemical, and that place is closed down, and part of it is off limits to human beings, and I mentioned that also in the last video. But you know, my videos aren't getting around to many people, I suppose. Oh, here comes a guy who's coming to get me. So, but yeah. Anyway, they got us sickened as well, but I think it was something very mild, and they told us it was a URI, upper respiratory infection, and you know, everybody was sick, and we had to go through chemical chambers and things like that, and you know, you got sick from that. And I think I don't know if we had this other thing they put into us before or after we had to go through those chambers, but I'm hoping and believing that it was something mild. I don't know about how the other guys are doing that were in that training session or not. I hope they're okay. Look, there's some, you know, see, they do have criminality in Belarus too. Look at this guy. There's some guy, and I guess it was too cold. He was freezing, so he was trying to break into this house over here. Look at that. Wow, incredible. Burglaries in Belarus. Yeah. Anyway, you saw it yourself here. But I don't know, I keep talking about this stuff because it really bothers me. And then, you know, they're trying to come up with another sort of an instrument of war, biological, by the way. And even Putin knows about it. Lavrov mentioned it. They have a lot of people that know about that in Russia, and it is going to be aimed against, well, they're trying to, and I guess they're working on it very, very much. And it's supposed to be aimed against Russians and anybody with some that has a ethnicity within the country of Russia. They're really going after Russia in many ways behind the scenes. So I'll talk a little bit more about that now. I got so much I gotta really start going. But like I said, Lindsey Graham, he's into a lot of this stuff too. Believe it or not, he's not just into the regular weapons that go boom and destroy things. He's also involved in that chemical kind of stuff too. Because guess what? This program started in South Carolina, and who is this? One of the senators. There's two senators, you know, for every state. Well, one of them is Lindsey Graham for South Carolina. You can't play like he's not involved in it anyway, because, like I said, all of his biggest donors are all MIC, military industrial complex people, and yeah. But Biden, of course, is involved in all that as well, believe it, personally. Yes. But when I was talking about a lot of this movement now that everybody's starting to be a little bit more truthful and coming out, you know, I guess everybody's getting this burden off their back that was Joe Biden, and I mean, maybe the people. And I'll talk about Scott Ritter in a little bit here. That's going to be something important too. But Trump is putting these people in, and I think a lot of people are running scared, maybe a little bit, so they're trying to confess up before Trump gets in, maybe, so they don't get caught, whatever. So they put people like Tulsi Gabbard in there too, and there's Robert Kennedy Jr. Candace Owens, still a friend of Trump, I do believe. And of course you got Elon Musk. It seems like he's got a penchant for the truth. I would like to know what his dealings were in South America, in Venezuela, when they had the elections. Maduro was naming Elon Musk as one of the top, bad guys that were trying to skewer the election down there. And one of the biggest truth tellers that I really like in the world, and he doesn't get as much recognition as he should be getting, is Robert Fico, the leader of Slovakia. And he already talked about the fact that this sickness that was around in 2020 that started as a U.S. Army project in South Carolina, that they had lockdowns for and social distancing and all that. He already talked about the real truth about that. He's one leader that came out exactly, and he talked about that. So that was incredible. That's one thing I like about him. He also mentioned another thing that I keep talking about, is that a lot of this, what's going on in Ukraine and Russia, is that these elites, this is incredible that he says the same things that I do, because I studied, and he must have studied it as well, but he said that these elites, their one big goal about this whole thing is to kill Slavic peoples. And Fico himself, because he's the leader of Slovakia, he's probably a Slav. And they probably want to send the Poles in there, so the Poles started to get slaughtered. Makes you really wonder. And then you start to think, I don't see, the thing is, I don't really understand racism. Why people think that people from certain races or whatever, nationalities or ethnic groups, this, I don't know. But apparently it seems like it's true. And even religions. A lot of the time, you look at this, what was going on even in Syria. A lot of those people that were killed, guess what? A lot of them were Christians. And a lot of these people in the Middle East are Christians. And I've already mentioned a book before that's called Every Spy a Prince. This is getting some really deep stuff. You guys can start drawing the lines and connect the dots yourself. And I've talked about it again before, because this is, to me, it's really startling. But anyway, in that book, towards the end, the authors, they talk about how successful they were and glad they were to be able, and this is true, and you can find it in English, Every Spy a Prince. Toward the end of the book, they said how pleased they were to get Christians and Muslims to fight and kill each other in the Middle East area, at least. So that's incredible. That is incredible, if you ask me. Christians and Muslims to fight and kill each other. And one of the reasons why they think it's so successful is because actually all three of the religions, those three religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, are all, so to speak, related. They all worship the same God and all. And what's the closest of those three religions are the Muslims and the Christians, because the Jews don't believe, well, for the most part, and a lot of them even hate Jesus. So, but Muhammad once said the greatest person that walked the earth was the prophet Jesus. I don't know if he was excluding himself, but anyway, he said that about Jesus. And I guess that's why Christians are supposed to hate the Muslims, because the leader and the founder of the Muslim church said Jesus was the greatest hello person that ever walked the earth. And so I guess that's why we're supposed to hate the Muslims, because the Jews hate the Christians, and we're supposed to love them, and they're God's chosen people. I just don't understand this. I don't know, maybe the rest of you can too. And they say, oh no, it's because Jesus was a Jew and we have to like the Jews too. And I was kind of thinking that Jesus was the first Christian and not a Jew. No, but wait, they said he was the king of the Jews. I don't know, maybe he was everybody's king, supposedly. Maybe he actually didn't say that. Who wrote the Bible? Who wrote the New Testament? Did God come down and write that? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was humans that wrote that. So you can't tell me that there's no possibility that some things were kind of slipped in there. I don't know. But I still nevertheless have great respect for Jesus, as I've always said, and he might be maybe the one person on earth that I have the most appreciation for. Nobody is capable of having tolerance like Jesus had tolerance, and the people of today, they don't have tolerance, and that was the point I was kind of getting at, is they want to kill people from different races and religions and nationalities. I don't think Jesus would have stood for that. So that's just what I'm getting at. I don't know, maybe that's why some Christians, even after they hear what I just said, they don't like me and they kind of hate me. So I guess I don't make very friends anywhere. I guess when you're honest, you tell the truth and express your real feelings, people don't like that at all. So they want you to lie to them. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Right? That little girl looking at me singing. So, okay, let's go on here. Fico, I really like that guy. I'm going to try to go through my cards a little bit faster here because I'm really dragging on here. They're trying to make a no confidence vote in that country. Oh, guess who's behind that? To try to get rid of Fico with a no confidence vote. Oh, guess who's behind it? Yeah, it's incredible. Serbia is also under extreme pressure. I think Lavrov, he did a speech just yesterday, as a matter of fact. A big press conference, big one. He said some incredible things. If you can find it, you should actually see that. Just look for whatever he said. What department? I guess it was the, anyway, his department had that thing, and he was saying incredible truths. It's incredible. And another person that I said, that was also telling the truth, I guess I've heard that Donald Trump came out and he admitted, and he actually has a little bit better ties to government things than I do, and he knows a lot of people. He's talked to a lot of people. He's admitted that getting Russia to attack Ukraine was a provocation. That Putin didn't just get up in the morning and say, I want to attack, like I was just talking about earlier. So I guess, I don't know. And he's going to be the president of the United States now. Makes you wonder how they are letting him be the president when he's not perpetuating the lies. I wonder if he's going to come out and start talking the truth about the virus. Maybe he already knows, but he just can't come right out and say it. I doubt he's going to give any kind of high position to Fauci anyway. So, and one other thing that Fico said, let's see what I wrote down here. He said that Zelensky is just some kind of a beggar and a blackmailer going around and trying to suck money out of everybody, And what is the new one that Zelensky said? Apparently it's the United States wanting Zelensky to draft younger people. They say 18-year-olds. I'll tell you what, they've already got a lot of 18s, or had a lot of 18-year-olds in the Ukrainian military. But he said that he will not do that unless the United States gives him more money and weapons. I don't know how much money this guy's going to need and where this money is all going, and why does it cost so many I think, what is it? I don't know how many is I think it's $200 billion already. Russia didn't spend that much. Russia has much better equipment, much more equipment, except for drones. Ukraine has a lot of drones, but everything has been destroyed, the fighter jets, all that stuff from Ukraine, and yet they spend far more than Russia, not just in equipment, but in lives as well. So where is all this stuff going from? And like I said, and a lot of this equipment, Zelensky, well, his people, they're selling it. They're selling it abroad. They're selling the weapons. They sold a lot of the fire equipment, the firefighting equipment, the excess that LA sent to them. Incredible. And yet he wants to keep right on going as if nothing's happened. I've met people like that, believe it or not. They're ripping you off, and you tell them, like, get out of my face, and yet they still perpetuate and want to continue ripping you off. Somebody building our apartment was doing that. He was giving us an estimate on the supplies needed to do the electricity work in our apartment, and we had another electrician look at it. He was like shocked. He said that's enough to do the entire stairwell, to do all the apartments, and there's a lot of things in there that were not even needed for an apartment. Well, it turns out that we've strongly believe, because of the things that he was trying to order for our apartment, that he was getting things to build his own house or a house somewhere else, and he was getting all the electrical equipment through us and having us pay for it, and of course they're not going to end up using it, and then he was lots of other things. So anyway, we were trying to get rid of that guy in the first place anyway, but luckily we really didn't end up paying him. But he destroyed our whole apartment because he wanted a lot of money. We only wanted 2 walls taken out. He destroyed all of the walls, every single wall through the entire apartment. We were living in a different town, so when we come up, it's like, oh, look at our apartment. So we had to pay, I don't know, many thousands in dollars more than what we were planning on it. So they have crooks here too. But to see, the problem was, if we would have had him sign a contract, we didn't have him sign a contract, so he got away with it because he was the friend of the person who used to have that apartment, and this guy had already remodeled 2 rooms of that apartment. So we were, it's like, well, why would he tear the walls out when he's already redone the walls in 2 of those rooms? To do them again to get more money. I mean, anyway, tough to admit, when somebody ripped you off like that. So, yes, no confidence vote. Get rid of the guy they're trying to do. Anybody that tells the truth and anybody that's a good leader, and to me is one of the best leaders in the world, Robert Fico of Slovakia. So make sure you get rid of the best ones. And you know who's behind that? The United States. I was kind of mentioning that. Oh, they're behind trying to get rid of Vucic also from Serbia. And of course they've been behind Lukashenko, and they've been doing it against Lukashenko and Belarus for so long. They've come right out and admitted it. Victoria Nuland, she talked to the Congress, and they had it on, you can find it on video, and she said they're going to continue trying for regime change in Belarus. Yeah, because look at how bad it is here. Look at how run down everything is. Look at how unhappy the people are. Look at, they don't have enough money for clothing. The supermarkets, who put all that food in there? I mean, come on. Why is everything sold out a lot of time around Christmas time? People are actually buying these things. They have money to do that. Pay is not that great in Belarus, but anyway, I'm just trying to let you know that a lot of this stuff is fake. And yes, we are allowed to dance in public in Belarus. In the United States, a lot of times they say, you're not allowed to sing in public, you're not allowed to dance in public. Hey, I was just singing a little tune over there. People don't run around singing. I tell you what, I've been in countries where they do, but there's a lot of, unfortunately, mental illnesses in some places. Life gets actually tough and all that sort of a deal. So, the Deputy Speaker of Slovakia, the Deputy Speaker of the Parliament, he came out and revealed that Fico sent a request to Zelensky because Zelensky cut off the gas to Europe down there, which mostly affects Hungary and Slovakia and Italy. I think he was getting along with Meloni, but anyway, he cut the gas off for her too, Zelensky. And obviously it's a pressure. It's one of the things of blackmail. And you either send me money, and I think most of the weapons already from Slovakia was sent to Ukraine through the former leader before Fico came in. And it's just like Denmark. That's why Trump is going to think that it's very easy if he has to go. The United States already has a lot of military in Greenland, and Denmark gave all of their military equipment to Ukraine, just like Los Angeles gave all their fire. I mean, it makes you really wonder. You look at Ukraine, there's a huge sucking sound. Money and everything is going to Ukraine, and a lot of times, of course it gets filtered through. Ukraine takes it and sells it to some other place. I mean, talk about corruption. And a lot of people are making money. This concludes a lot of people from the United States. And that's what this is all about. Sarah Wagenknecht of the Sarah Wagenknecht Union in Germany. She has her own political party. She used to be the leader of Die Linke. And I've mentioned her. And of course, married to Oscar Lafontaine, who used to be the top man in the SPD. Used to be the second most powerful party in Germany. But anyway, she's come out and said this is not about Ukraine, this is all about money. It's American companies to make lots of money. She wants to also switch on the gas again from Russia, said it's actually needed. Just like the AFD, but it makes you wonder, how is it that when the AFD, Alternative for Germany party, is aligned with a lot of the same things that Sarah Wagenknecht, who also has a good following, why Sarah Vaughan Connect will not form a coalition with the AFD. I'll tell you why. Because there's somebody working in between there too. Maybe both of those parties don't even know it. But the United States and Great Britain, a lot of certain countries and places, they have their testicles are in every pie. Oh, I mean tentacles. They have tentacles like an octopus, stretched out with a tentacle in every pie. So that's why. A lot of people. I've even met a lot of people myself. Once I was in an airport. In the airport, where was I? Which airport? I don't know if it was Germany or France or someplace. Somebody standing behind me in a line. I hear English, and he was working for the Clintons, and he was in Europe. He was over in Europe working for the Clintons. I'm wondering, that's not the United States. What is he doing? Anyway, you guys know what I'm getting at. But anyway, what I was saying is this deputy speaker. It doesn't matter what his name is. Didn't write it down, but. Fico sent a letter to Zelensky to meet and talk about this deal with the gas, how they can solve the problem between the two countries. And Zelensky almost literally sent him a message back and said, F you. So I guess that's diplomatic speech for Ukrainians, for the Nazis in Ukraine, as a F you. Zelensky, I guess he's a little bit pissed off. He's losing, and he stands a chance that he's going to get cut off. But I tell you what, at least Trump realizes you have to talk to people. And of course Putin is like that way too. I guess those are what you call real leaders. Lukashenko will talk to anybody. He even talks to Zelensky, believe it or not. Even if he's come out public and said he doesn't support Zelensky and what he's doing. So anyway, at least Mr. Zelensky is still apparently talking to Lukashenko. I don't know if they talk directly, but somehow they get messages from in between each other. So what else do we have here? They're talking about who the beneficiary is of all of this when Ukraine cut the gas off, and it's obviously it is the United States. Well, there's a pretty girl for somebody here. Let's see. Anyway, and the USA. Just like when blowing up the pipelines, who's the beneficiary? The USA. Gosh, what is that? Cui bono? Who benefits from it? All of this stuff that's going on in the world, who is benefiting from it? Boy, those testicles in the testicles all over the world, they're really showing things now. And there's a recent attack also. I mean, quite a few attacks, and and Russia has been shooting them down. Of course, it's on civilians, and luckily things have been shot down. There was an attack on the pumping station for the Turk Stream, which is apparently now the only link for gas, I believe. I think the oil links are still in some places going to Europe, Russian oil, but the Turk Stream is one of the last thing. And guess, Ukraine attacked it with what? ATACMS, American missiles, and storm shadows from Great Britain. And it turns out that obviously these things cannot be used without the cooperation of the United States and Great Britain. So dang, it makes you wonder, who is doing all of this stuff? I mean, geez, incredible, huh? And I think Russia's just biding their time, waiting to see how things are going to change. Some things are definitely going to change, but how much when Trump comes in? You never do know. You never do know. So what else is now coming on here? Another thing Fico said. I like this guy. I try to keep up a lot of the news on Fico whenever I find it. He was asking, who was he asking? I don't even know who he was asking. He's asking the EU, the European Union, why is it that there's an arrest warrant out for Vladimir Putin, but there is no arrest warrant out for Benjamin Netanyahu? When the ICC, even though there was no trials for Putin, but there was some trials, not with Benjamin Netanyahu there to defend himself necessarily, but there was evidence brought up against Benjamin Netanyahu for the things he's doing, but there was no evidence brought up, any real evidence, against Vladimir Putin for what was they're trying to say that he's kidnapping children or something like that. But we all see what Benjamin Netanyahu is doing, and he's admitted it. He's admitted it how many times before the cameras. So, but yet there's no arrest warrant from the EU, is what I'm saying, from the EU for Benjamin Netanyahu. It's only from the ICC, but not from the EU. And yet there is one for Vladimir Putin when there was no evidence. I mean, something is strange there. I don't understand why that is. Wonder what this building is over here. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, the money. Lloyd Austin, the defense secretary of Joe Biden, he wants a military budget in 2026. Hey, we just now got into 2025. He's trying to push through a military budget for the United States for 2026 of $1 trillion. A $1 trillion budget. That's incredible. And then there was also some kind of information on talking how much has already been spent. I think just in January. It's incredible. In January alone. And January's not even over yet. What do we have? This is the 15th. It's halfway through January. And Joe Biden sent $8 billion of weapons to Israel. And last month he sent $2.5 billion to Ukraine. It's incredible. Let me make sure. Let's see. Did I write here? If it was last year. Anyway, lots and lots of money. It's absolutely incredible. We keep going over here. Like I said, I've never been in this area. Don't know what this building is. It's probably the back side anyway. Looks like it looks like a kind of a cross between Soviet and Nazi architecture. Don't let them hear how I said anything about. I don't know. They don't like that kind of talk around here, to be honest with you, in Belarus. So you don't say that, especially that anything here looks like that. Maybe I'll get arrested. Nobody's coming yet. I'm still here. Okay. And anyway, let's find out. Let's see what happens when because some of this money that gets allocated for the Defense Department, some of it comes back to Elon Musk. So a lot of people are saying that this is not going to be rescinded by Donald Trump. So they're going to continue, even during the Trump's time, to be letting this money go. This big, huge amount of money, $1 trillion going to the Department of Defense. Oh, what's very important, and I didn't even mention this, is this money that is going to Ukraine and to Israel is not part of that $1 trillion. They have a separate budget for Ukraine and Israel. So that's different money. It's incredible. And these billions and billions. But don't worry. The American taxpayer is going to pay that. And of course, everybody's going to pay for it. Like I say, world reserve currency. Oh, man, alive. Yeah. Oh, and I think, because of all of this huge amount of spending, obviously this pushes up inflation, not just in the United States, especially even when it goes up in the United States. Just because of that, it goes up in many other places too. But that's one reason why in this country they have the leader of this country, and people looking at me, I don't want to say the name, you never know. Lukashenko, I didn't look. He's trying to really push import substitution in this country, really push it, because when you get dependent on anything coming from any of these people, and then they cut off the lines for you, like what's going on now, it's raises costs very much. Look at this. Looks like some old guy, but he's got a guitar. I don't understand this statue. Vladimir Mulyavin. Mulyavin. I don't know who that is. Maybe I didn't show you guys that, did I? Let me show the name here. Down here. Mulyavin. Mulyavin. I don't know. I've never heard of him. Was he in the Beatles? He looks kind of like that. Was this guy in the Beatles? Do you guys remember him at all? Looks more like he'd fit into Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, but I don't know. Who am I? Who am I? Okay. Lavrov's press conference. I may have mentioned a few things. One thing he said was that the United States has their own policy. You know, just by looking at the United States, it seems he says that if you do what the United States, well, let me say, those who do not do as United States wants. Wait. Those, why do that? Anyway, those who do what the United States wants them to do will get a seat at the table, and those that do not do what the United States wants them to do, those are on the menu. So you get a seat at the table if you do what the U.S. wants you and tells you to do, indicates that what you should do. However, the different ways that you have to do the bidding of the United States, and those that do not do that, you guys, all of those people get on the menu, all those countries, which is very, very true, as you all know, like Slovakia or Belarus. I tell you what, it's so, I can't even tell you guys how much I like being in a country where the leader doesn't take any crap from the United States. And he's smart enough, and he's at least in a good enough position where he knows that, you know, Russia is a potentially much better friend to him than the United States is. And he's kind of, what do you say, trolled the USA many times in the past. He's been there a long time, by the way. And luckily he has, what is that word? Revolutionized. He's changed with the times. So he's I don't know. I like being here. And I keep mentioning Gunter Fehlinger. You know, he's the guy that says he wants to split up Russia into 41 countries. Sometimes he says, I don't know. Some other people said 30. He said about 41 countries, and like he's one of the planners. But and Fehlinger, Gunter Fehlinger, he's one of the chief planners, by the way, of the NATO, and he's the guy in charge of expansion of NATO, one of the guys, the think tank. And like I said, he's the one that split up the countries, or says where the boundaries are going to be of all the different countries of Russia if they think they're going to take it over, and even has the flags, what their flags are going to look like, and all that sort of stuff. But the countries he hates the most, number one on the list is Belarus. Number two is Serbia. So that's just telling you. So these people are very frustrated that they have not been able to overthrow this country of Belarus. It's incredible. I call him the partisan president. So he's the one that's fighting back. It's incredible. That's what I like. I love that about Lukashenko. You know, there are people here that don't like about Lukashenko. They don't like him. And they don't realize that they're a product of propaganda, fake news, and everything. It's, you know, just like Putin got up and decided he wanted to attack Ukraine, and a lot of people fall for anything. So, yes. What else here? Another thing I didn't mention about this budget. They have this budget, this U.S. Defense budget, and a lot of people are mentioning, and a lot of mostly economists, I think Jeffrey Sachs will probably mention this in a video if he hasn't already, but they don't even say where this trillion is going. Now you would imagine, why would somebody ask for $1 trillion for something, you know, just mentioning, if they don't even tell you where this money is going to be spent? What's it going to be spent on? They just come and they say, well, we need $1 trillion, and a blank check. And it makes you wonder, all of this money that's already disappeared, how much was announced on September 10th, 2001, before 9/11, when they had money disappear? What was it? $3 trillion or $4 trillion disappeared. Gosh, and they just, oh, we don't know where it's at. We don't know what happened to it. Come on, man. And you guys gotta, come on, man. I sound like Joe Biden. And you guys gotta, I mean, Americans, if you guys, some of you Americans are watching this, makes you wonder, how can anybody put up with this kind of stuff? I don't know. I haven't lived there for many years. I already saw the writing on the wall, and I don't know. The place scares me. It scares me, even though to a large extent, a lot of people have a decent life still in the United States. It makes me wonder when it's all going to be crashing down. I'm just talking. And Lavrov, go back to Lavrov again, talking about what he's mentioning in his conference there. He was mentioning about, and like it goes in right in line with what I'm talking about, where there's a lot of people now talking more truths, because it seems like this is the Trump effect. Trump coming in, and a lot of people are now apparently going to be putting out a little bit more truth. Wonder if we're going to get the real truth about the USS Liberty. And Trump says he's going to release some of the documents of what happened to JFK, the real truth. I don't know. Maybe those things are all doctored anyway when they did this. Who knows? Oh, by the way, let me mention before I forget, Dave Roberts on From the Other Side, he posted on he's got a page, and he posted the documents. I don't know if he puts them up on the show. I don't have time to watch the show, but he posted a lot of documentation, like at least 4, and then documents, at least 2 documents. But there are others that exist. I've seen them myself. But he had some film footage, I guess from long ago, many, many decades ago, about people talking about what happened, during World War II, and this stuff about this genocide and 6 million Jews and all this, and the documentation. Because, like I said, it was done like some in 1944, and they say that this stuff, a lot of these claims are fake, and it's just like what happened on what was it? 2023, October 7th, 2023, with Israel and with this blaming Hamas. And what did they say? How many? 1,200 Israelis were killed. And of course, it was never even near that. I think maybe the number was 372. I'm not exactly even sure how many actually got killed on that day. And apparently most of them were killed by Israel. And Max Blumenthal exposed that. It's just incredible. It makes you wonder if the world is going to start really mentioning the real truth. I doubt it, but anyway, we can fantasize about it, as much as we want to. I like to anyway. And what I was saying, Lavrov, what he was mentioning, there was a OSCE agreement. I think that the organization, they don't even have it going anymore, but it was they agreed unrestricted access to information, the press and all that. And this was signed between, like, say, Russia and all the European countries, things like that. But apparently, and this was 1990. It was 1990, and they just dismiss it whenever Russia says, well, what about this agreement that was signed? And they just, they don't even talk about it. Unrestricted access to information for people. But then they have Sputnik blocked, RT blocked, a lot of other channels blocked throughout all of the EU. So much for people honoring their agreements, especially when it comes to the West. Yes. Let's see. Yeah. And what else? Oh, I guess I'm getting close. I'm getting close to the end here. I'm amazed. Let's see. Okay. Scott Ritter came out. Absolutely amazing. Scott Ritter, as you know, he used to be in intelligence. I was in an intelligence battalion. I wasn't an intelligence officer myself and all that. It had a lot of different, I guess I could say, special training. And Scott Ritter, he was a major. He had a really big position for a major. So he was, I don't know. He must have been really good to be a major in the position that he was in. And I thought, like Oliver North, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, and he stood on his stand back in the Reagan days and all that sort of thing. But remember that tape, Joe Biden, when he was a senator, talking to Scott Ritter in those days? He said, "You're above your pay grade, Scotty boy." Called him Scotty boy. And but anyway, Scott Ritter came out, and even though he should, you would think, the way Biden was talking to him, that he would have some kind of a grudge against Biden, but he really never did it so much. Even though he doesn't like Biden, I think he doesn't like Trump even so much, Scott Ritter. But he said that a lot of the problems that was happening during the Biden time, most of this is coming from Tony Blinken, believe it or not. He said he was taking advantage of a mentally diminished Biden. And that Tony Blinken is in truth responsible for the death of over 1 million people. So that's kind of interesting. And you've seen that actually it's not even an exaggeration. I mean, because you see a lot of time the reaction of Tony Blinken when Biden was coming up with his verbal gaffes and things like that. And it's apparently not an exaggeration that Blinken was somehow, at least in some ways, controlling Biden. So I don't know to what extent. I should maybe find that from Scott Ritter. I only saw the written stories about it, so maybe so. He might have some good stuff. Scott Ritter's pretty good at and convincing, but coming with information. So he might be too convincing sometimes. I'm just talking. So yes. Yeah, 1 million people. Not to mention over 50. And you talk about a lot of these, how many people. And you can even, in a way, blame these deaths that you think maybe are caused by Israel. At least 50,000+ people that Israel has killed, in this time since 2020, October, at the end of 2023. And, they bomb in Lebanon and lots of places. In Syria, they're bombing all over the place. They killed a lot of people. 40, I don't know how many, maybe getting close to 50,000 people, most of them innocent, and a majority of those are children, and that Israel has killed in Gaza and even in the West Bank. And then, of course, a lot in Lebanon as well. Lots and lots of destruction. You talk about how many hundreds of billions of dollars of destruction. They talk about, and everybody's crying about the fires in LA, which is very bad, don't get me wrong. But Israel, it's the most powerful bombs, and a lot of people are saying that, they talk about this ceasefire, but apparently there's no sign that there is really going to be a ceasefire. Between Hamas and Israel. So you never really do know. I already talked about Sarah Wagenknecht. That was the last thing I was going to say, and but I talked about it without reading my card here. But she's talking about the Germany being an instrument of the United States proxy wars, as well. And Olaf Scholz, as you see, he's just a patsy going along with it as well. They're trying to hurt Russia, but it doesn't hurt Russia. It gives a big business boost to the American companies, is mostly what she was saying, and it's all about economic reasons. Yeah. So Sarah Wagenknecht, she's not no lightweight either. So really, it's going to be interesting to see how this election goes in Germany in February. So, in any case, everybody, I appreciate you joining me. And like I said, I'm not putting up as many videos anymore. Tough time in classes. And I had a long day today. That's why it's later. It's even starting to get a little bit dim here. We have short days, kind of a little bit north up here, and it's in the winter. It's just past the winter equinox, so days are still short. It gets dark early, gets light late in the morning. So anyhow, I'm going to start getting my way to the metro. What am I, about 3-4 blocks away from it? And I should be going to more interesting places at some time, but I tell you, I'm always rushed for time. and I can't show you guys beautiful places when I don't have so much time to go there. And anyway, I appreciate y'all joining me, and I'll see you for the next one. So make sure you leave comments and subscribe if you're somebody new, which I doubt. I doubt YouTube's sending my videos to anybody. So again, thanks. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.